Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. How are you guys today? So today's video is going to be Proverbs 31 part 3. Oh my goodness, it's currently April the 2nd and it's 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to go over verses 12 through 16. The part that we went over already, we know that this chapter is written from a mom to her son. So King Lebanon's mother wrote to him, and she's just telling him in the beginning, not to waste his time on women who want to use him and abuse him, who don't want what's best for him, who just want to use him. So yeah. And then she talks about him making sure he speaks up for the people that's who's easily forgotten. Then verses 10 and 11, it starts with just explaining. She's explaining a wife. She's explaining a virtuous wife. So she gives him examples, and that's what we went over verses last video. We went over verses 7 through 11. In this video, we're going to do 12 through 16. So I'm going to pray. I'm going to get into the video. Dear Lord, I thank you for this day, God. I thank you, God, for just waking us up this morning and allowing us to have breath in our body and just providing everything that we need. Lord, I pray, God, that you just continue to allow these videos to bless the person it's supposed to bless, God. Send this video, God, to the person that is supposed to reach, Lord. I pray, God, that you just continue to bless every single person that watches it, Lord. And I pray, God, that we're just continuing to walk in your will and not our own. In Jesus' name, amen. So, I'm reading an NLT. Also have notes on right here on my piece of paper and on my computer. So if you see me looking back and forth, I'm going to start at verse 12. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and busily spins it. She is like a merchant ship bringing food from afar. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household. And the days work for her servant girls. 16, she goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. So we're going to go over each verse and just explain it. So verse 12 is she brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. So there are many proverbs out there that you can just go look it up. Just look. If you're reading through Proverbs, even if you like reading through if you're reading through Proverbs, I'm going to say that. You're reading through Proverbs, there's so many examples of a bad wife and what the bad effects of a wife is. But here in verse 12 is the opposite. She's saying she brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. A virtuous wife does good to her husband. She doesn't do bad, but she does good. She's good and she's not evil. And she continues being a blessing all the days of her life, with her husband, all the days of her life. She's not just she's not like, oh well, one day I'll be good, one day I'll be bad, but she brings good. The sense is that her goodness and faithful character becomes deeper and greater throughout the passing years. So it's not her will, but it's God's will. And she continues to grow in her relationship with God. And I think that's the most important thing, is that we grow deeper in our relationship with God. And as you grow deeper in your relationship with God, you grow deeper with the people, you express that relationship through other people, like to other people, excuse me. So this virtuous wife, as she grows deeper with God, she's able to serve her husband better. She's able to serve her children better, So she's strengthening her relationship with God, and she's making that a priority. So she is not changing, she's not changing, but she's constant and she's permanent while she and her husband live. It's a constant thing. It's not like, oh, well, one day I'm going to do this and one day I'm going to do that. But it's constant and it's permanent, which is something you need in a partner. You need somebody who's consistent. You need somebody who's, not to say that we don't change. As we grow, we change. But her character doesn't change. That's what we're talking about right now, her character. She may become more kinder. That's good. She may become more gentle and more patient as God grows her. But if she's declining, she's becoming more irritable, things like that, she's changing for the worse instead of changing for the better. You know what I'm saying? So she brings him good instead of bringing him bad. So verse 13, she finds wool and flax and she busily spins it. So King Lemunel's mother describes not the resume of the godly woman, but life-like examples of the busy, not lazy, hardworking, and creative character of the virtuous wife. The virtuous wife is not lazy. She does not mind to get her hands dirty. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you have to be able to do that. Like, you are virtuous before you become that virtuous wife. You don't mind to get your hand dirty because, oh, well, wait, I'm going to become a wife and now I can get my hands dirty. But this comes with practice. This comes with years of experience, or you don't mind to get your hands dirty. You don't mind to help. You don't mind to serve in the church. You know what I'm saying? You don't mind to help people out where people need help, and, she's not lazy. She gets up, she does what she's supposed to do, and that's, before you become a wife, you have these characters already. You're developing these characters. These characters are already developing in you. God's making sure that you have them, and He's preparing you for them, for those things. So yeah. She's hardworking, she makes sure that everything that she needs to get done for the day, or whatever, for however long, she makes sure she gets it done. And she doesn't allow that to all the pressures of the world to overwhelm her. She knows that the Lord is there for her, and He's helping her. Not to say that she's not gonna have a bad day. Everybody has bad days. We all do. But she's leaning on the Lord and she's trusting Him. So a woman who felt burdened to complete each of these tasks in a day, a week, or even a month would be exhausted and probably discouraged. We feel this way. Yet the character described in this verse can be evident in a wise and godly woman's life in its own way. So one, we have to keep seeking God. That's number one. Whether we're married, whether we're single, whether we are looking to be married, or whatever those things are, we have to continue to seek the Lord. And we also have to know our limits and our boundaries. Because if you go into a marriage and you don't even know your own limits or your own boundaries and what you can and cannot do, you don't know your strengths or your weaknesses, it's going to be hard because you're think you can just do everything. But some things you have to just allow, or you have to know, you have to know what you can and cannot do so you don't overwhelm yourself, and ask for help, because, nobody's perfect. We gotta get some help somewhere, and definitely from God, but that wisdom comes from God, you know what I'm saying? So we ask Lord for the wisdom to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. So, just making sure we know our boundaries and we know our limits. The activities described in these verses doesn't mean that she does all these things in a day or a week, but it does point to how much hard work and how many different kinds of work are involved in wisely and properly managing a home. I just love this point because God is preparing you as you are, becoming a wife. He's preparing you for the role that you are to step into, to wisely and properly manage a home. That's a hard work. That's a lot of work. That's not like, and for example, if you're a stay-at-home mom, or a stay-at-home wife, whatever the situation is, you don't go out and work. You still work in your house. You still have a job to keep your house clean, to make sure everything's done. You do a lot of things for your household. And what if you're a working wife? You still have to do all that on top of that. Each person's story and situation is different, but there's a lot of work, that has to be done in maintaining and properly and wisely maintaining a house. You know, you can't just do it yourself. But she leans on the Lord. Okay, so Lord, where do you think I should put these plants? You know, or Lord, where's my cleaning system? You know, help me out with that. When, you know, how often am I going to clean these rooms or whatever it is? You know, she leans on the Lord, and He's the one that guides her, and He will definitely tell her where she needs to go. So, women today can, and I love this verse, and if you don't take anything from this video, I would love for you to take this, you know, and it's not even you being married, or, you know, you can be single, whatever it is. Women today can take comfort and confidence in God's recognition here, just how big their job is, you know. God sees you and He loves you. And I think that's the whole message for this, like for this part right here. It's just God sees you and He loves you. You know, you're doing a great job. You know, sometimes we're hard on ourselves, but God sees us. He recognizes the hard work that He's doing, that we're doing, you know what I'm saying? And He loves us, you know. God created a role for the women. If He did not love women, if He didn't love us at all, He wouldn't have created a role for us. But man has role, woman has role. You know what I'm saying? And we can take comfort and confidence that God recognizes us. And He knows, because if He didn't recognize us, He wouldn't talk to us. He wouldn't tell us what we need to do. You know, He wouldn't tell us where to go. So that's really important, that God recognizes us and that He loves us, you know. He recognizes us and He loves us, and that is what we need to hold on to. So yes, He sees us and He loves us. The virtuous wife is not proud, she's not haughty, and she does not think that working with her hands is beneath her. You know, she works in simple and practical ways for her family and her home. She's not lazy, you know. She's not proud, you know. She's not like, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to go do this and, you know, things like that. And she's not beneath working with her hands. She doesn't mind doing that. You know what I'm saying? This is something she enjoys doing. So 1 Corinthians 13, 5-6 says, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It's not irritable, and it keeps no records of being wrong. So this is what God gave me when I looked at this. The virtuous wife is not proud. She is love. She's patient. She's kind. You know what I'm saying? She is not irritable. She keeps no records of wrong. You know, she makes sure that her household and everything in it is running the way it's supposed to be. And she's not proud. You know, she's not like, oh, well, let me not do anything. Let me just sit here. She's not lazy, you know. Love is not lazy, because love takes work. And love is something that, you know, is patient. It's kind. It takes work. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to know that if we love another person, it's going to require us to work out some things, you know, to be more kind, to be more patient, you know, not to be irritable all the time, or, you know, holding no records of being wronged. So that's something that is important for us to remember. What sets the virtuous woman apart is that she willingly works. And I know we're talking about that a lot. She willingly works. She's not forced. She's not forced to work. She's not like, oh, I have to go do this now. Man, my husband and my children need all these things. Oh my gosh, now I gotta get him to do this. But she willingly works. She's up, you know, before all of her kids. She's up before her husband. She's making sure that they have everything they need. She's making sure her house is in order. You know what I'm saying? She's making sure she takes care of herself too. You know, she works on herself. She's making sure that she has her own time, because she knows that, you know, her mental health is important, and how, and her quality time with herself will help her, you know, be better, a better servant to her children. So yeah, and her husband. So all her labor is a cheerful service. Okay, her will, her heart is in it. What is your heart posture right now? Ask yourself that. God asks me that all the time. He brings it to my attention, or He asks me, what is your heart posture right now? You know, where are you standing on this? You know, are you leaning over here? Are you leaning over here? And I think that's important, because if we are cheerful, we do cheerfulness, you know, and we're willingly work, then our heart posture is good. You know, it's not proud, like, oh, well, I have to go do this, and they need me now, you know, but they're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go help them out. So I think that's important, that we need to just daily, you know, check our heart posture. God, what's my heart posture right now? What can I do better than, how can I do better at this? So, yeah, your will is in it and your heart's in it. And I think that's the most important thing. So verse 14 and 15 says, she is like a merchant ship, bringing food from afar. So she makes sure her family has healthy food, they're healthy, and they're not hungry. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and the day's work for her servant girls. So the virtuous wife provides food for her family after the pattern of a merchant ship, which operates with regularity and effort. So she puts in regular time. She's not like, okay, and I know everybody's life gets busy, but I watched this thing, the Lord allowed me to watch this, or he brought it to my attention, is that, as a wife and as a mother, you have to make sure that your husband is fed, and you have to make sure your children are fed. Also you, because if your children are running on junk food and they haven't had breakfast and then they get to school and they act out, it's because they haven't had the things they need, their nutrients for the day, for them to succeed in the day. This operates on being regular about doing this. You know what I'm saying? Getting up early, preparing breakfast. It doesn't have to be something grand. It can be some pancakes. It can be, making sure they can have like a little fruit salad or anything like that. And you put an effort into it. And you know what your children and you know what your husband likes. You know what these people like, and you go out and you buy that for them, and you make sure they're healthy. You make sure their day is going to get started right. Now, sometimes it's going to be a busy morning. And there might be cereal, but not to have them to have cereal every day. Oh, let me just pop a little waffle. Make your children and make your husband some home cooked meals. If you don't know how to do it, this is me. I'm not really the best cook. Let's have somebody teach us how to do it. Because what we do affects them. So if we're not doing anything or we're not putting any effort, then they're not, because we're supposed to be teaching them, or we're supposed to be encouraging our husband. So I think that is important, that we make sure that we get up and we put in the effort to make sure that everybody's day goes smoothly. So if required, she rises yet before the night, and she gets and prepares food for her household. She prepares healthy food. There's not to say that you can go to Chick-fil-A or, go get you some tacos from Taco Bell or something if it's a busy day, but she makes sure that the food is healthy. She makes sure they have their vegetables, and they have their 2 vegetables, and they have their fruit. She makes sure that they don't have more fruit than they have vegetables, because that's not good for them. Too much sugars. She knows what is good, and she knows what's bad. Her family does not go hungry. They can depend on her. Okay, mom made my lunch today. You know what I'm saying? Or her husband is like, yeah, my wife got me. She making sure I eat healthy. You know what I'm saying? So that is your role as a wife, and I really love that. So, she shows compassion, and she cares beyond her immediate family, which I think is important, because yes, you love your family, but also you have to be a servant to the other people that God has called you to be a servant to. So she shows compassion, and she cares beyond her immediate family. Verse 16 says, she goes to inspect a field and buys it with earnings. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She is smart, and she gets that from God. Everything that she knows, she learned it from God. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's some things out here that, but then we're talking about a virtuous wife. We're not talking about a wife. We're talking about a virtuous wife. A regular wife, everything she knows, she learns from the world. This is culture telling her to do these things. But a virtuous wife, everything she knows and everything that she's learned it from God. God had taught her how to do this. God taught her how to do that. She's smart because God has taught her that. God has given her wisdom. He's given her the knowledge. Everything that she has it from God. And I think that's important, that we know that God is the one that's teaching us these things, and we have to lean in, because correction is not the best for me. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh man, but we have to learn from what God is telling us so that we're able to apply it to the next time we do it something. So I think it's important that we just remember that as a virtuous wife, we have to lean on the Lord for wisdom and for knowledge. And we have to lean on Him to make sure that we are doing our role, making sure that we are doing everything in our role that we need to do. So, I pray this video was a blessing. I really enjoy doing these videos. If you want me to do another video, we have 3 more videos left of this. So, but if you wanted me to do another series after this, let me know. Leave it in the comments. Leave a comment, leave a testimony in the comment, leave a prayer request, any of those things. I read the comments. So yeah, I pray that you guys have a great day, and I pray that this video was a blessing. Until next time, bye.